Well, a couple years ago, when my son graduated from high school, um, I had found a church history tour that sounded amazing. It sounded really, really amazing, and I wanted to do it. And we spent 2 or 3 days in Nauvoo at that time as part of that trip. Caught all the shows, and had a couple of days to do things. And interestingly, after that trip, we got back home. Um, kind of the somewhere after that, the thought popped into my head, something about living there or moving to Nauvoo. And I don't know exactly when it popped into my head, but it was sometime after that trip. And so I just got on Zillow, started like looking around. You just get in there and you just like click on one and look at it and click on one. And I was like blown away by the housing prices. And this was 2 years ago, before COVID, before Utah's housing market went insane, so it wasn't even as big of a difference as it turned out to be later. But yeah, I just started looking at stuff, and it really was I was just going off a feeling. I didn't at the time know how it could possibly work, because my job did not allow us to work remote. We had access to a lot of information that they didn't want out, and wanted to be able to protect it properly. And so my particular team was not allowed to work remote. And so it wasn't even really a possibility, but I was just kind of looking at it. I just kind of kept looking, kept looking, kept looking. That following, I want to say summer, I think it was the summer of 2020, because it was COVID and we were nervous about traveling. So it was COVID. We started traveling. I actually took a trip. David and I took a trip out to Nauvoo, and we went through like 8 houses, like looking at places to live, in the Nauvoo area. And a couple of them I really liked, but it was just kind of not a thing. And then suddenly my work said, now you're all working from home. We got to keep the business going. You can work from home. We found a way to make it work, So suddenly we were able to work at home. But when I first started thinking about coming, I didn't know how it could even be possible, because I couldn't work remote. So it didn't really make sense to look, but I was looking anyway, because the thought came into my head to look. And I was not looking necessarily at Macomb. I was not even necessarily, I was not aware that Macomb was in the Nauvoo state when I found the house. But at some point I started broadening it from Nauvoo, and just clicking on houses. And then I clicked on my house, and I looked at that house, and I was like, that one feels good. And you couldn't see it when you just looked at the pictures, but if you looked at the 3D, where you could look around at the walls of the pictures, I could see that there were pictures of the Nauvoo temple on the wall. There were pictures of Christ on the wall. And I'm like, this one's not going to smell like smoke. This is going to be a good one. I didn't have, the housing market did play a role, because I was able to buy a home for less than I currently owed. I was able to, of course, pay off that house. I put the 20% down on this one. I was able to pay off all my bills. So coming here, I was in a way better financial position. The traffic there was just getting to be overwhelming. It was so crowded and so disappointing to see every last little piece of land snatched up and condos built on it or whatever, like I was over that. So I really, really liked, rush hour is 5 cars or something, out here. It's so much nicer. I love the feel. I love the feel of the people out here. I found Macomb to be very, very friendly. The people are very friendly. And one of the things that I really love is that there's so many people who just love Jesus. They love God. Very different feel in Utah right now. And I've lived in Utah all my life, and there are definitely benefits to living there. If this temple's full, you've got 5 more within an hour drive to 6, 7 more. to go to now almost. But yeah, I mean, there are some great benefits with BYU and Temple Square and all the things right there. But I think it can be hard to be a member there in some ways because there are so many that just take it for granted, or so many that there sometimes can be a very judgmental feel. And the one thing that I just noticed right off the bat here was that I didn't feel that when I came here to the ward here. The first thing I felt was they're just happy you're here. You could walk in jeans and tennis shoes and they're just happy you're here. And I really love that. I think it feels a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Authentic, real, a little more like it's supposed to feel. And I came from good people, you know, good wards and stuff, but there's just a different feel out here.